The city that never sleeps was not always made of glass and steel. Once upon a time, New York was a raw patch of land, mud, rock, and dreams, waiting to become something more. The skyline we know today wasn't built overnight. It was carved out of centuries, one brick, one beam, and one belief at a time. And within every structure, from the humble brownstones to the towering spires, lies the heartbeat of millions of souls who dared to reach higher than ever before. It all began with the Dutch. When they arrived in the early 1600s, they called this place New Amsterdam. Their architecture was simple, pragmatic, built to survive the winds that swept off the Atlantic. Gabled roofs, small windows, thick walls of brick, each building a fortress against the elements. But even then, something stirred beneath the surface, a quiet ambition, a hunger for permanence. The settlers built not just for survival, but for identity. They wanted to leave their mark on the edge of a new world. When the English took over, New Amsterdam became New York, and the architecture shifted with the tides of power. Georgian-style houses lined the narrow streets. Columns appeared. Symmetry ruled. The new city was still small, but it began to dream of greatness. Churches rose first, the steeple of Trinity Church piercing the sky like a promise. It was the tallest structure in the city for nearly half a century, a testament to faith and human aspiration. But as the centuries turned, something extraordinary happened. The Industrial Revolution arrived, and with it steel. For the first time, humans could build not just wider, but higher. The race to the sky began. The streets of New York became a stage for ambition. Immigrants poured in, Italians, Irish, Germans, Jews, each bringing their culture, their craft, their sweat. They built the roads, the bridges, the foundations of what would become the greatest skyline on Earth. In their hands, the city began to rise. The brownstones of Brooklyn became homes for families chasing hope. Their stoops became symbols of New York life, where neighbors met, children played, and dreams took root. Then, in the late 19th century, the first true skyscrapers appeared. Cast iron facades replaced heavy stone. The Flatiron Building, completed in 1902, stood like an iron wedge against the wind. People stared in disbelief, afraid it might fall. Newspapers called it an engineering experiment. But when it stood firm, it became a symbol of courage, proof that architecture could defy fear. The city grew bolder. Architects became visionaries. They no longer just built, they competed. New York was now the world's workshop of ambition. The Woolworth Building rose next. So tall it was nicknamed the Cathedral of Commerce. Gothic arches reached skyward, a blend of medieval artistry and modern technology. And at its opening, President Woodrow Wilson pressed a button in Washington, D.C., to illuminate the tower's lights, a moment that united technology and imagination in a single breath. By the 1920s, the city was alive with energy. Jazz played through the streets. Cars replaced horse-drawn carriages, and the skyline began to shimmer with Art Deco elegance. The Chrysler Building, designed by William Van Allen, emerged like a metallic crown. Every curve, every detail reflected the optimism of an age that believed anything was possible. But behind its beauty lay a fierce rivalry. Just a few blocks away, another titan, 40 Wall Street, was racing to claim the title of tallest building in the world. For a brief moment, 40 Wall Street won. But Van Allen had a secret. Hidden inside the Chrysler Building's spire was an extra piece of structure, waiting to be revealed. When it was hoisted into place, it stunned the city. The Chrysler had reclaimed the crown. Its peak gleamed like a dagger in the sky, a quiet triumph of genius and pride. But the glory was short-lived. The Great Depression arrived, halting construction, shattering dreams. Yet even in hardship, New York refused to bow. Out of economic despair rose a monument that would define an era, the Empire State Building. Built in just over a year, it stood as both a symbol of resilience and defiance. Workers balanced on narrow steel beams thousands of feet above the streets, their silhouettes etched against the clouds. Many of them were immigrants who had fled poverty, now shaping the heavens themselves. The Empire State Building was not just a skyscraper, it was a message to the world: no matter how hard the times, New York would always rise. The decades rolled forward, and the city transformed again. The post-war era brought modernism, clean lines, glass walls, the belief that simplicity was power. Architects like Mies van der Rohe and Skidmore, Owings and Merrill redefined the skyline. The Seagram Building and the Lever House introduced a new aesthetic: elegant, minimal, almost cold. The city that once celebrated ornament now embraced transparency. Steel and glass replaced stone and brick. The skyline became a mirror, reflecting both the glory and the chaos of modern life. But perhaps no structures defined the modern age more than the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. Conceived by Minoru Yamasaki, they were symbols of global unity and economic strength. When they were completed in the 1970s, they dominated the horizon, two giants standing side by side, shimmering in the sunlight. For decades, they became a beacon for those arriving by sea or air, a silent greeting to the world. Yet on one tragic morning, they fell. The skyline changed forever. The loss was not just physical, it was emotional, spiritual, human. The heart of the city stopped, but only for a moment, because from that pain, from that dust, rose something new. One World Trade Center, taller, stronger, radiant with meaning. It was not just a replacement, it was a resurrection. A reminder that even in ruin, New York finds a way to rebuild. Today, the city's architecture is a dialogue between past and future. The glass towers of Hudson Yards, the eco-conscious designs of the High Line, the rebirth of old factories into art spaces, all speak to the same spirit that has guided New York for 4 centuries: innovation born from struggle, beauty born from grit. Each era leaves its fingerprint. The Gothic grace of St. Patrick's Cathedral, the Art Deco shimmer of Rockefeller Center, the minimalist elegance of One Vanderbilt, all coexist in harmony, a timeline written in stone, steel, and glass. But what truly makes New York's architecture unforgettable are the stories within it. The immigrant who laid bricks for a building he'd never enter. The ironworker who ate lunch on a steel beam hundreds of feet in the air. The architect who dared to dream a shape that seemed impossible. The city's skyline isn't just an engineering marvel, it's a living monument to human will. Every window reflects a life. Every spire points toward a dream. Every renovation, every demolition, every new construction continues the same ancient rhythm: creation, destruction, rebirth. And through it all, one truth remains: New York's architecture is not just about buildings. It's about belief. The belief that no matter how much the world changes, no matter how many times the city is tested, its spirit will always rise again. So the next time you walk those streets, stop for a moment. Look up. The shadows on the walls are not just shapes. They are ghosts of the past, watching over the city they built. Listen closely, and you might still hear the echoes of hammer strikes, the laughter of workers, the sighs of dreamers. New York is a story told in steel and stone, a story that began centuries ago and one that will never truly end. If this journey through the rise of New York's architecture moved you, then keep walking with us through time. Like this video, share your thoughts below. What landmark captures your imagination the most? And subscribe for more stories hidden in the walls of history, because every city, every structure, every skyline has a secret to tell.